topic that we started last week, which we tagged Wasters of Divine Favour. And this one will be Wasters of Divine Favour Part 2. Wasters of Divine Favour Part 2. And we are going to look at the book of Judges. Judges chapter 16, if you're there. Start from verse 15. Judges 16, verse 15. It says, and she said unto him, How canst thou say, I love thee, when thy heart is not with me? Thou hast mocked me these 3 times, and hast not told me wherein thy great strength lieth. And it came to pass, when she pressed him daily with her words, and urged him so that his soul was vexed unto death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, There hath not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me. I shall become weak and be like any other man. And then Delilah saw that he had told her all his heart. She went and called for the lords of the Philistines, saying, Come up this once, for he hath shewed me all his heart. Then the lord of the Philistines came up unto her, and brought money in their hand. And she made him sleep upon her knees. And she called for a man, and she caused him to shave off all the 7 locks of his head. And she began to afflict him, and his strength went from him. And he said, The Philistines be Samson. And he woke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as other times before, and shake myself. And he wist not that the Lord was departed from him. But the Philistines took him and put out his eyes, and brought him down to Gaza, and bound him with fetters of brass, and he did grind in the prison house. Just leave it there. Hallelujah. Blessed him with, in spite of riches and wisdom, at the end of it all, he wasted everything that God gave to him. He wasted everything that God gave to him. We are going to look at Samson today. It's another waster of divine favor. Like Solomon, Samson is a paradox. He was a man of contradictory parts. He was a personality in contradiction. Hallelujah. He was a personality in contradiction. But before we go into his contradictory personality, it is suffice to say here that this man was born at a special time in the history of Israel. At the time that Samson was born, Israel was in bondage, and they had been in repeated bondage. They had been in repeated bondage over and over again. They sinned, and God punished them. God put another nation to lord over them, and then they begged God. They asked for forgiveness. God forgave them, and then they go back to sin, and then God punished them again. God will bring somebody to enslave them, and then they went back to God. They prayed and they cried, and God will save them. It was a chain. A circle of is repetition of sin and forgiveness, sin and forgiveness. So Samson was born at this time. He was the 15th judge of Israel. He was judge number 15 over Israel, and he judged Israel for probably about 20 years, beginning from 1134 BC to 1124 BC, something about 24 years, about 20 years thereabout, he was judge over Israel. Now, this man, like I said, he had a contradictory nature. The name Samson means sunshine. Even though his name was supposed to connote light, this man died in darkness because his eyes were gushed out and he was blind, and he died blind in darkness. This man had strength like no other man. In fact, it has been acclaimed that Samson was the most strongest man that God ever created in terms of strength. No man could match this man, not even Goliath. And yet, he had weaknesses. This man had a very prophetic beginning. Before he was born, angels foretold his birth. Just like Jesus, just like John the Baptist. But more than Jesus and John the Baptist, the angel that foretold the birth of this man called Samson is not an ordinary angel. Angel Gabriel foretold the birth of Samson, the birth of Jesus and the birth of John the Baptist. But the angel that foretold the birth of Samson, Bible scholars, theologians have concluded that angel was God in angelic form. Remember that when Manoah, the father of Samson, asked for the name of the angel refused to give his name. Yes.
Now there was a certain man from Zorah of the family of the Danites whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of the Lord appeared to the woman and said to her, "Indeed now you are barren and have borne no children, but you shall conceive."
Can I stop you there? I need you to go to where Manoah himself spoke to the angel and where the angel did not reveal his name.
Verse 8. Then Manoah prayed to the Lord and said, "Oh my Lord,
yes,
let the man of God whom you sent come to us again and teach us what we shall do for the child who is born."
Yes, go on.
Verse 9. And God listened to the voice of Manoah.
Yes.
And the angel of God came to the woman
again, yes.
as she was sitting in the field. But Manoah, her husband, was not there. Then the woman ran in haste and told her husband and said to him, "Look, the man who came to me the other day has just now appeared to me." So Manoah rose and followed his wife. When he came to the man, he said to him, "Are you the man who spoke to this woman?" And he said, "I am." Manoah said, "Now let your words come to pass. What will be the boy's rule of life and his work?" So the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Of all that I said to the woman, let her be careful. She may not eat anything that comes from the vine, nor may she drink wine or similar drink, nor eat anything unclean." Verse 15. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "Please let us detain you, and will prepare a young goat for you."
Yes, go on.
Verse 16. And the angel of the Lord said to Manoah, "Though you detain me, I will not eat your food. But if you offer a burnt offering, you must offer it to the Lord." For Manoah did not know who was the angel of the Lord. Then Manoah said to the angel of the Lord, "What is your name?"
Right, that's where I'm going. Yes.
"That when your words come to pass, we may honor you." And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why do you ask my name? Saying it is wonderful."
Hallelujah. Let's just stop here. Now, Bible scholars have determined, they came to a conclusion that this angel, apart from the fact that he did not say his name here, secondly, when they offer the burnt offering, the angel touched that burnt offering with the staff in his hand, and the offering turned into flames. A replica of what happened to Elijah when Elijah called down fire from heaven. Hallelujah. Can you remember that part? Where Elijah called down fire from heaven? Where he said, "Let the God who answered by fire, let him be God." This angel touched that offering and it became fire. And the angel himself disappeared to heaven by that fire. So, but scholars of theology have concluded that angel was Jesus Christ in angelic form who appeared to the mother and father of Samson. So above the angel that appeared in the time of when Jesus Christ was about to be born and when John the Baptist was about to be born, that was angel Gabriel. But this time it was God in angelic form. So it tells you how special this man Samson was to God. God had to come in angelic form to forecast his birth. This man had a beginning that was bright. If you go through the Bible, many biblical figures in the Bible, they had humble beginnings. They started poor. People like David. David was a shepherd boy in the bush. He was thrown in the bush, and he was a nobody in the bush. People like Abraham. For several years, he was a nobody. He had no child. He had nothing. He had no properties to his name. Nothing. Hallelujah. Amen. But Samson started life on a strong note. And he was a Nazarite. Who is a Nazarite? Let's go to the qualities of the Nazarite. Let's look at that very quickly before we go on. Numbers 6, beginning from 1 to 6. Numbers chapter 6, beginning from 1 to 6.
Moses saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, when either a man or woman consecrates an offering to take the vow of a Nazarite, to separate himself to the Lord, he shall separate himself from wine and similar drink.
These are the qualities of the Nazarite as given by God, the laws of God, when God spoke to Moses about a Nazarite. He said the first thing that he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink. He will not take a drink. He will not take beer when they are taking beer. He will not take alcohol when they are taking alcohol. He will not take wine when everybody is taking wine. That's the first thing. Just go on.
All the days of his separation, he shall eat nothing that is produced by the grapevine, from seed to skin.
Yes.
All the days of the vow of his separation, no razor shall come upon his head.
No razor shall come upon his head. That's number 2.
Until the days are fulfilled for which he separated himself to the Lord.
Yes.
He shall be holy.
It shall be holy, yes.
He shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. All the days that he separates himself from the Lord, he shall not go near a dead body.
He shall not go near a dead body. Number 3. So those are the 3 qualities. He shall not take any strong drink. He shall not cut his hair, and he shall not touch any dead thing. 3 things that the Nazarite must observe. Hallelujah. So this man, Samson, was a Nazarite from birth. He was a Nazarite, which means he was separated, he was set aside, he was to have no wine or strong drink, and he should not touch dead bodies, neither should he cut his hair. Hallelujah. Apart from that, like I said, Samson was a man of spiritual strength. He was a deliverer. He was meant to be the deliverer of Israel. He was a prophet. A deliverer of Israel. Those were his roles. Those are what he was supposed to fulfill. He didn't only have strength in body, as in strength, bodily strength. He had spiritual strength as well. Remember that he gave out riddles and nobody could solve the riddles. They went out for 7 days, nobody could solve the riddle until they had to come through his wife to get the meaning to the riddle before they could break the riddle. He was a man who had a sharp mind. Hallelujah. Amen. This was a man who was blessed beyond compare. Wasters of divine favor. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. But where did everything go wrong for him? Number 1. What went wrong? Number 1. The first thing that this man did was to break all the rules of a Nazarite. Don't drink. Don't cut your hair. Don't touch dead things. The Bible recorded that he touched dead things. Remember, he killed a lion. After he killed the lion, he went back to where the lion was and took honey from the dead body of the lion. Yes.
After some time, when he returned to get her, he turned aside to see the carcass of the lion. And behold, a swarm of bees and honey were in the carcass of the lion. He took some of it in his hand and went along eating it. When he came...
That's fine. That's what we need. He took some of the honey from the carcass, from the bones, dead bones of the lion. He took honey from it in his hand, and he was eating the honey. Not only did he eat his honey, he offered to his parents, and his parents ate as well. And the parents who were supposed to know better, although they didn't know where he got the honey from, but I would have asked him, where did you get this honey from? Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. He cut his hair, which we know that at the end of his life. And number 3, the drinking of strong drink. The Bible did not tell us that he drank any strong drink, but I believe that he did. How do I know? He slept with prostitutes. And any man who sleeps with prostitutes, because the normal man does not drink, who does not smoke, will not go near prostitutes. But usually the people who go near prostitutes are people who drink and smoke. Hallelujah. So I believe that he drank, although the Bible did not say so. But he slept with prostitutes. But do you know that he slept with prostitutes?
Yes. I saw a harlot.
I saw a harlot.
And went into her.
And went into her, means he had sex with her. And this is just one that the Bible recorded. I'm sure there were many harlots. Hallelujah. Amen. So this man was just doing all sorts. And he was supposed to be the deliverer of Israel. He was supposed to be a prophet of Israel. He was supposed to be a judge of Israel. He was sleeping with prostitutes. The man was sleeping with prostitutes. Hallelujah. So he broke all the 3 rules. Number 2. He had a mission, but without vision. He knew what God was calling him to do, but he didn't have a vision to get there. And that's a very sad thing. You know God is calling you to do more, but you don't know what you are doing with your life. He says, I know the thoughts that I have towards you. They are thoughts of good and not of evil, to bring you to an expected, but you don't know how you are supposed to go about it. There's a mission for your life, but you don't know how to get there. And that was the problem with Samson. He was born when Israel was under bondage. And when he died, Israel was still under bondage. It made no significant difference in the life of Israel. He just came, he walked the face of the earth, and he died. No difference. Because when he was born, Israel was under slavery. When he died, Israel was still under slavery. And yet he was supposed to be a deliverer. There are people that come and go without making any difference, without making any impact. There are people that they are born and they die, and throughout their years on earth, they did not make impact at all. May that not be your portion. Amen. May you leave your mark on the sands of time. Amen. May generations and generations after you remember you for the work that you have done. Amen. In the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. This man made no impact. He came and he left. He left Israel the way he met Israel. No impact, nothing. Some people say it was a success. His name is in the Hall of Fame in Hebrews 11. But I have a different opinion. I have a different opinion. Because if you're supposed to be a deliverer, how did he deliver Israel? Everything that God says not to do as a Nazarite, he did. He was just breaking God's laws here and there. He had no regard for the laws of God. Hallelujah. Amen. He was a man of great strength, but small mind. He wasted his life fighting small battles. Sometimes he fought battles for revenge. Rather than fighting the battles for God, he was fighting for himself. There was a time he went and burned the farms of the Philistines. And when they asked him, why did you do it? He said, I did it to take revenge for what they did to me. I think that's in chapter 15, verse, if I'm not mistaken, when he was asked, why did you do it? And he said, I did it to take revenge, to revenge for what they did to me.
Yes, sir. Verse 7.
Verse 7, yes.
Samson said to them, since you will do a thing like this, I will surely take revenge on you, and after that I will cease. So he attacked them hip and thigh with a great slaughter. Then he went down and dwelt in the cleft of the rock of Etam.
And there was where they asked him and said, I did it because it's in that chapter 15 as well. They asked him specifically, well, why did you do it? And said, I did it to take revenge for what they did to me. Maybe it's down. If you go down a little bit. So, this man was a man who had great strength, but small mind. Rather than fighting the battles for God, he was fighting for himself. He was taking revenge for himself. Hallelujah. Mm-hmm. Number 3. What went wrong? Number 3. He could not control his appetite for women. Hallelujah. Samson could not control his appetite for women. His flesh controlled him. Apostle Paul said something in 1 Corinthians 9 verse 27. Put that on board, please. 1 Corinthians 9 verse 27. He said, I put my flesh under subjection, lest when I have preached to others, that I myself might not be a castaway. 1 Corinthians 9 verse 27. Yes, go on.
I discipline my body and bring it into subjection, lest when I have preached to others, I myself should become disqualified.
And I myself become disqualified. So a man, a woman who wants to achieve anything in life must learn to put this flesh under subjection. Because the flesh is warring against the spirit. This flesh is against God. This flesh works against God. I think Galatians 5 verse 17 says, the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. One is against the other. Galatians 5:17, I think it's 17. Put that on the board as well. For the flesh lusts against the spirit, and the spirit is warring against the flesh.
And these are contrary to one
And they are contrary, they are opposing one another.
so that you do not do the things that you wish.
So that you cannot do the things that you wish. One is against the other, they are contrary to one another. So that if this flesh is not put under control, it will get you into trouble. Because this flesh is against the Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God is against this flesh. But Samson could not put his flesh under control. His flesh controlled him. His flesh controlled him. And he got into trouble. And when I say the flesh, it does not only mean sex. Because the only thing that you are thinking about is flesh, sex, flesh. No. Anything that the flesh wants. Maybe it's food. If you are the kind of person who eats too much, it means you will not be able to fast. That means this flesh, you are not putting it under control. It may mean what you are buying. You see jewelry you want to buy every time you want to buy. That's the flesh that's not under control. A lot of people are earning, they are spending more than what they earn because they can't stop buying, they can't stop shopping. That flesh is not under control. You see Mrs. Aria, she's wearing these nice shoes, and then I must get the same shoes. That flesh is not under control. And you'll be surprised how women do that a lot. They see, what do you get? And the next thing they want to get the same thing. It's a thing with women. Women don't usually do that. But it's a thing with women. Hallelujah. I've seen in church like this, one man just say, that's not what you do. And they get it, and they're there, they are ordering their own. Just because they saw somebody wear it. May the Lord help us. That is the flesh not being under control. Because if you didn't see it, you wouldn't have wanted it. But because you saw it, you just wanted it. Hallelujah. So he did not put his flesh under control. Number 3. Number 4. He could not control his temper. He had a temper that he could not control. When he's angry, he destroys properties. He destroys things. In Judges chapter 14 verse 19 and in 15, 3-5. Let's look at those instances.
14:19.
Yes.
Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon him mightily, and he went down to Ashkelon and killed 30 of their men, took their apparel, and gave the changes of clothing to those who had explained the widow.
Hallelujah. Let's look at 15, 3-5.
And Samson said to them, this time I shall be blameless regarding the Philistines if I harm them. Then Samson went and caught 300 foxes, and he took torches, turned the foxes tail to tail, and put the torch between each pair of tails. Then he set the torches on fire.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
So he had anger issues. What do you do when you are angry? Do you get out of control, or is your anger controlled? The Bible says be angry, yes. But when you're angry, what do you do? Do you slap your wife, or do you control yourself? This guy had anger issues. And you'll be surprised. Christians, so-called Christians, I always say so-called because they call themselves Christians. What comes out of their mouth when they're angry? You would be surprised, you'll be amazed. And the Bible says out of the depth of the belly. That's where what comes out of your mouth comes from. It means what you say is inside of you. What a man eats does not defile a man, but what comes out of a man, that's what defiles a man. Whatever you say in those moments of anger, that is what you carry inside of you. When you say dirty things, when you curse people, when you are angry, it means your inside is rotting. Your inside is rotting. If that's what comes out of you when you are angry. And you cannot disguise who you are. In that moment of anger, that's the real you. Everybody can say I love you when things are okay. You can say I love you Your husband comes home and he brings flowers and you say, I love you. You can say all that when things are okay. But when you are angry is when we know the real you. And then what comes out of your mouth when you are angry. And I always say to people, when you are angry and those things come out of your mouth, don't open your mouth again and say, I'm a Christian. You are not. You are not. Because where the Spirit of God lives, those dirty things cannot live there. Those curses that is coming cannot live in the same body that the Spirit of God lives. It's not possible. So until there's transformation in here, until you are renewed in the Spirit, until the Spirit of the mind of the Spirit is renewed, you are not a Christian. You are simply not a Christian. You can come to church and pretend. You can sing and raise up your hand. But when you are fighting with your wife, that is when we know who you are. When you are angry with your wife, that's when you will know who you are. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Number 4. Number 5. This man failed to deal with the recurring patterns of weakness in his life. He knew that he had an issue. And yet, that issue, every time that thing took control of him, he was powerless to control it. And they usually say that when the problem is known, when you know the problem, that's 50% of the problem solved. But here you know the problem, but it is still 100% unsolved. Because the next time this thing the situation around again, you still repeat the same thing. You still curse the man, you still curse the woman. You do not learn anything. And then when you ask, but it was the woman that said so, that's why I slapped her. You think you think there's a justification, you find excuses to justify whatever it is that you're doing. Until you come to that place where you say to yourself, there is no justification under the sun for this. It is then you begin to change. But when you begin to find the excuse that it is the way he spoke to me or she spoke to me that made me slap her or curse him, then you will never change because you still have excuses handy to justify what you are doing. It's recurring. When it happens 1,000,000 times, you will react the same way 1,000,000 times. The Lord will deliver you. Amen. Number 5. Number 6. Samson played games with the enemy. He was playing games with his enemy. You give me 30, I'll give you 30 skins or whatever. If you don't solve it, I will. He was playing games with his enemies. You don't play games with the enemy. You don't. What you do is keep the enemy at arm's length. Hallelujah. You don't toy with sin. You do not toy with sin. You keep sin at arm's length. Hallelujah. You don't go near it. You don't play games with sin. The moment you toy with your enemies, there's no way you will come out of it without being compromised. Hallelujah. Number 6, or number 7. Samson rejected godly counsel. Remember his parents told him, why do you want that woman from Timnath? Are there no women in Israel? Why do you want to go after a Philistine woman? And he said, I like her, just get her for me. Many times you've made up your mind to do the wrong thing, and somebody somewhere, God has sent somebody to intervene somewhere to give you a counsel. What you are about to do is wrong. Don't do it. But because you are determined in your path, you are determined to do what you are determined to do. Nothing can change your path. Because you have made a decision in your mind that this is what I'm going to do, and somewhere deep down in you, because the Spirit of God is still there, that Spirit is nagging you, don't do this. You know it's wrong. But what you do is you suppress that voice. You suppress that voice because you don't want to hear it. Because you are determined to follow the path that you are determined to follow. His parents told him, why do you want to marry this lady? Why do you want her? I don't know women in Israel anymore. Well, in fact, he ignored their advice straight away. He said, no, just get me that woman. I like her. May what you like not kill you. Amen. Number 7. Is it number 7 or 8? 8. Okay, we said he compromised his commitment. You said that, okay. Number 8, he dishonored his parents. He dishonored his parents. His parents told him expressly, don't do it. It is regarded the advice. And the Bible tells me that honor your father and your mother so that your days on the earth will be long. Samson disobeyed his father and his mother, and his days on the earth were cut short. Samson probably died at the age of 25. So, when God says, honor your father and your mother, God says that for a reason. But you'll be surprised, some of us, the way we talk to our parents, it's unbelievable. Especially when you come to a situation where you are the one who now sends money to feed your parents. I have seen people who, because they have attained that role where their parents now depend on them for sustenance. The way they talk to their parents now, just because they are the one who now sends money to feed the woman or the man, they shout on them anyhow, they talk to them. The way you will not talk to your children, you talk to your parents that way. Just because you are sending money to them. Just because they are relying on you for their monthly allowance. May your days be long. May your days be long if you are that kind of person. So if you fall into that category, stop it. Whether or not you are feeding your parents, respect and honor them so that your own days will be long. And don't forget one thing, which Galatians 6 verse 7 states very clearly. Whatever you sow, whatever it is that you are sowing now, you will reap. Hallelujah. Amen. So if you are in that category, just talk, send it out to your parents. I pray that God will forgive you. Amen. And I pray that your days will be long. Amen. Hallelujah. Amen. This man had everything going for him. But he messed up big time. he messed up big time. Now let's put that situation back to ourselves. How does this affect us? Last week I said, if you are here in England and your life has no meaning, you are wasting God's favor upon your life. Because here in England is a land of opportunities. There's nothing you want to achieve here that you cannot achieve. Whether it is by education, you don't have to have a penny to go to school here in England. You don't have to have a penny of your own to go to school. Student loan is available and they will not take 1p back from you until you start working. Not only that, you have to start working until you start earning above £21,000 per year. If you are earning 20,999, nobody will take 1p from you. Isn't that 25,000? So if you are working and you are earning less than 25,000 per year, nobody will knock on the door to take 1p from you because you are not earning up to 25,000 in a year. So I want you to imagine that you are earning 24,000 in a year. 24,000 in a year means 2,000 in a month. Means 2,000 in a month. They make it so easy. Do you understand? So that is school. If you want to start business here in England, here in this country, you need a loan to start business. Nobody will say go and bring a collateral as they do in Nigeria. In Nigeria, before you take a bank loan, you have to have a house to put down as a collateral. But here, you don't have to have anything. They just want to see that you are earning money, something is coming and going out of your account. That's all. The moment they can see that, whatever you are asking for, they will give you. So I don't know what you want to do that you cannot achieve here. And if you have been here 15, 20 years, 10 years, and you have not achieved anything, you are a waster of God's favor. Because there are many people who are lining up in embassies across the world wanting to come here that you are right now. If God has blessed you, you are in a marriage, you have children, it's favor. Don't mess it up. Don't mess it up. I know you are looking at me, what's favor in that? It's favor. And some of you are saying, I wish God would take this husband away. But trust me, the husband being there is favor. The wife being there is favor. It's favor. That's what the Bible says. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing and he obtaineth favor from the Lord. Does the Bible say that? Yes. And he obtains favor from the Lord. It's favor. Or if your wife can say, this my husband is a good man. That is a good testimony. Or if your wife can say, if your husband can say, this woman is a good, godly woman. But how many can their wives say, this man is a godly man, a good man, a wonderful man? How many? Or how many can their husband say, this woman is a good woman, a godly, a fairy woman, a God-fearing woman? How many? Do you know that apart from God, the person that knows you in and out the most is your husband? Yes. And if that person cannot say you are a good person, then the fact is you are not a good person. If your wife cannot stand here and say, this man is a good man, a God-fearing man, then you are not a good person. Because you can hide yourself from everybody here, but your husband knows you. He knows you in and out. I have seen a pastor who stood and was preaching like this. And his wife was sitting like that. A man of God, pastor. So straight away, I knew that this man is a fake man. Because if your one wife does not even say you are a good person, then you are not a good person. So I need you to go home and think. Can your husband say you are a good woman? Or can your wife say you are a good man? If your husband can say that, your wife can say that, you are passed. But if not, go back and begin to work upon yourself. The Lord will help you. Shall we guys?